raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. First, Coach Muschamp.
Well, thank you. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Chuck Allen, Eric Norwood, Bill Courier, and Jamar Nesbitt at induction to the South Carolina Athletic Hall of Fame, all former Gamecocks. We appreciate their contributions to our program. You know, sloppy with the ball, especially offensively, but we put the ball on the ground 3 times. We lost 1. You know, self-inflicted wounds. You got an interception to a rolled corner on 3rd down, a bad snap, a missed protection, something we've repped, and you know, just really shoot ourselves in the foot. We only punted twice in the game, but we can't. We're gonna have a hard time overcoming those things. Hats off to the defense and the effort that they had to make the stop in the red zone late when Jamarcus made the interception. But gutty performance. I hate that they got the deep ball late on us, the 42-yarder. A little miscommunication. It was a jailbreak pump there. But a very gutty performance by our guys that fought their tails off down, 13-0 going in the 4th quarter, and there wasn't a lot of positive things going on, and our guys fought through it. It says a lot about the resiliency and the character of our football team. The culture of our football team is outstanding. You know, there was no one negative on the sideline. Everyone was positive. Everyone kept fighting their butts off, and our guys gave a great effort. I said all week, Louisiana Tech's got a good football team. They do. You know, they'll win Conference USA. So at the end of the day, we got to continue to be more productive, scoring points. We've left 16 points on the field the last 2 weeks. Very proud of Parker White, a guy that stood in there amongst the negativity and made the game-winning kick. Really proud of him and what he did. So I'm extremely proud of the effort of our football team because we've got a great culture here and a lot of very positive things going on, and certainly we needed the result of a win to be able to coach off that tomorrow as opposed to the other. And through a week of a lot of negativity, I'm very proud of how they handled coming back and under very adverse circumstances. That says a lot about the type of young men and the character we've got in that locker room and the leadership that we have in that locker room. But injury situation, Bryson Allen Williams is going to be out for the season. He does have a red shirt. This is something that kind of came up. He practiced actually Tuesday, non-contact. Shoulder kept bothering him. We went back and did a different exam on his shoulder, and he's going to have surgery. We kind of finalized that on Friday. As much as anything about, you know, disappointed for Bryson, but he does have a red shirt here, so he will be back. You know, I just hate that happened because he was having a fantastic year. Corey Helms injured his ankle. We don't think it's extremely serious. It's more of an Achilles than it is ankle sprain. We think he'll be day-to-day, so I'll notify you more on Tuesday. Dante Sawyer was a game-time decision. Didn't feel good about his being able to push off on his hamstring. I think he'll be fine for next week. And Rico Dowdle had a thigh contusion going in the game, was a little bit of a game-time decision, tightened up on him in pregame, and he got another pretty good shot on it today. So we'll see about that. And Alexander Wozniak was not available to kick because of a groin. You know, that's kind of our injury situation. I'll open up for any questions.
Raise your hand. We'll give the microphone to you, David.
Will the play where Jake got the scramble, run up and ran the play instead of spiking, is that something that you guys have worked on? Did he have the freedom to do that? And was that package kind of set up?
Yes, we do a lot in camp, David, and probably every 3rd day I'll come up with some 1-minute situation. I don't tell the coordinators. We're going to go out there, and our players have to respond and react, and our coaches have to respond and react, and we do it every Wednesday during the season. We're going to get up there, and I'm going to give you a situation, and we got to go, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown situation, the time on the clock, the timeout situation. So we're very comfortable working in those situations.
Go Jeff and Josh.
Will, as a follow-up, can you just evaluate his performance on those last 2 plays, the scramble to set it up, and the mental fortitude he showed in that situation?
I'm glad he's my quarterback. I mean, at the end of the day, or our quarterback, you know, certainly in his true sophomore season is playing really good football. And, you know, in those situations, not only does he bring confidence for the coaching staff, but he brings confidence for our entire football team. And I was really proud of Ortre Smith today. We made a big catch down there, went up for another one, almost got that one. Brian stepped up as he always had. Brian's playing good football for us. Shy Smith did some nice things for us. Like I said, in the week, when you talk in terms of replacing a guy like Debo, not one person's going to do that. It's going to be multiple people at multiple positions. Casey Crosby's role is going to continue to come back through, and Hayden Hurst, obviously, and our running backs. And you know, we've got to continue to find ways to create explosive plays.
If Wozniak had been available, would you have gone to him, you think?
No,
in that?
I don't think so. I think, in that situation, it's a long season, and we got a lot of football ahead of us, and I've got a lot of confidence in Parker. And I told Parker at halftime, you're batting the distance. You're going the distance. I'm not pulling you out. And we're going to put you back in there to kick the ball, and you need to make the kick, and you'll probably win the game for us. And just so turned out that's the way it worked out.
Did you say anything to him right before the final kick?
No, I told him what I tell you at halftime. He started laughing.
You told him that before the kick or after the kick?
Before the kick.
What kind of vibe did you get from him at that moment?
He's a very confident young man. I mean, he was confident.
Can you talk a little bit about Tyson Williams and the kind of game he had tonight?
Well, he had, Tyson's a good football player for us, and we should have, you go back, and I know we'll all reflect, but, he's a guy that we got to take care of the football, but certainly gets positive yardage in the running game. He's a heavy back, and as the game wears on, people get tired of hitting that.
Zach was out today, and then Corey goes down pretty early. How do you feel like the offensive line did when she put Sedarius
Well, I
in?
thought they did a good job. 45 is a really good player. He's going to play for a long time. He's an outstanding football player, but Dennis held up at left tackle. Malik went to right tackle, got a little dinged up, stayed in the game. He's a tough young man. Corey Helms is as tough as they come. If he's able to play next week, he'll play. I can assure you of that. But I thought Sedarius did a nice job of stepping in, Donnell bumping over to the right, and Allen kind of holding everything together. So, again, pleased with those guys. And our most explosive, play situations came when those guys were in the game.
Go back to Josh.
Your offense responded in the last, 12 minutes there. Before that, it looked rough, and Jake missed some throws. Do you have a sense of what's going on there and what needs to click to?
I want to go back and look at it before I comment, to be honest with you, Josh. I don't think it's fair for me to comment right now. I think that, there was a route run wrong. I mean, there's a couple things that were off, and it's not all on number 19. And certainly would he like to have some throws back? Absolutely. I think he'd be the first one to tell you. Again, I'd like to watch the tape before I want to make a comment on that. Certainly, the running game helped us a little bit more, but again, we shot ourselves in the foot, in some situations. And guys, we've left 16 points on the field in the last two ball games, and that's hard to do in our league. And when you play the schedule we got.
I know it's just a single win, but from your seat, how does 3-1 look compared to what 2-2 would have looked like?
Well, a lot better. So that's one of your intuitive questions again. I see you got your orange on again. Peach fits you well. There's no question. I mean, I think more than anything, the way it happened, and obviously there's things we need to correct yet. I mean, come on. But certainly our guys fighting through it, and our guys getting in the fourth quarter and winning the game, our guys making plays and then having the confidence because, as we start moving forward, there's going to be more games like this, and we've got to be in that situation and be in that moment and certainly playing in that sort of environment and, being able to pull the game out when it didn't look good. And our guys kept fighting. So that says a lot about the character and the leadership that we've got in that locker room, the type of young man we have in that locker room.
Coach, on the play that they did hit the long pass to set up the possible field goal, you mentioned there was a communication issue.
They did a jailbreak pump. We had a miscommunication. They went quick to the line of scrimmage, and again, I'd like to watch the tape, but I saw it from my vantage point. We weren't ready on the perimeter, and we got to get that corrected.
Earlier, I saw there was a time where Lamont had to move Jemias over at the last second, too. Is that just one of those things that happens sometimes?
That was a matchup thing that we were trying to do. And as a senior and a fourth-year senior, Chris sees it a little quicker than a first-year freshman. And there was a couple matchups issue that we didn't want to get into with Jam, and that's all that was. Mm-hmm.
What did you change over the course of the week as far as the offensive approach? It seemed like Tyson got a lot more carries early. Did you do anything else different?
Not really. I mean, we kind of had the same approach. We had the same short yardage and goal line packages a week ago. We went with something different. I mean, that's something we've had a part of our package for the entire season. We repped all this stuff in training camp. You go in as a coordinator each week and you evaluate what you feel like you need to do in situational football of 3rd and 3 to 6, 3rd and 7 to 10, 3rd and 11 plus, 3rd and 1 to 2, goal line situations, red zone situations, field position plus, minus, whatever it is, and you go and you devise a game plan to what you feel like is going to work in those situations. And sometimes those things don't always go the way you want it to go. Sometimes they may do something you weren't expecting, and it's something a little different. And so, you know, we hit on a lot of the short yardage, I believe, today, and we'll continue to work to make sure that we're not in predictable down and distances on those situations.
Coach, it seemed like pass rush just wasn't there in the first half. Was that just a reflection of Bryson being out, or something else, or something that?
I think the ball was out quickly. I think a lot of times, and you know, in a lot of situations, I give the quarterback credit. We flushed him several times, especially on the first drive of the game. They had a 13-play drive, and I counted in 3 situations we flushed him from the pocket, and he was able to make off-rhythm plays. So, you know, I don't know. Our tackling wasn't as crisp early in the game. I thought we cleaned it up as the game went, but we've been a pretty good tackling team. We missed Snell a couple times on some knockbacks last week, in my opinion. You know, I do think that the ball is out very quickly in today's college football. But we did flush the guy a little bit. I don't know how many sacks we ended up with, maybe 1 or so. But I do feel like that we've got to continue to be pretty creative in our pattern rush stuff as far as, you know, losing a fast twitch guy like Bryson. I agree.
Outside of that big play you already talked about, defensively, is that almost what you want to see in terms of preventing explosive plays?
Well, I think, you know, I had the 42-yarder, and then you know, I think they only had an 11-yard rush, which 10 yards would be an explosive run for us. And then they had the one inside fade in the first half on our sideline. So if you go against an offense like that and give up 3 explosive plays, you're playing good defense. You give up 16 points, they're averaging 34, you're playing good defense. You get in the red zone and make them run the ball. Pass zone's condensed. We should have passed off the pick route down there in the red zone. Our guys have played that 1,000 times. Disappointed in that, so we'll get that corrected.
Will, a couple of questions. First, is Sky Moore okay?
Yeah, he was fine. Just got hit in the midsection.
And just from your view right now, how did Hutcherson play in relief of Helms?
You know, I thought we got good movement inside. They were getting a 3-3 stack, and they were blowing a backer in the B gap, and we missed it a couple times in the first half. Eric made some corrections at halftime. Our guys got our eyes up better and picked up the run-throughs, and that's the big inside zone was the touchdown run by Tyson there at the end. The 35-yarder. That was the inside zone. We gapped it back, and the guys did a really good job blocking. There was nobody on the second level to touch him, so very well blocked.
Will, who did you think played well today in Bryson's place, and who do you look to going forward to fill that role?
Well, it's going to be a combination of guys. I mean, I think Dennis Woolham is playing really good football for us, and you know, he's a guy that can play both end and buck. We're kind of borrowing back and forth between some positions right now. Keir Thomas is playing inside and outside. Dante's playing inside and outside. And Brad Johnson's a young man that needs to keep coming. Danny Fennell had a couple good pressures today. I believe had our only sack. But Danny's a guy that needs to continue to come on for us. Brad Johnson's a freshman that we're excited about. Aaron Sterling's a freshman that's playing a bunch of ball for us. So, you know, we got to continue to roll a bunch of guys in there and to keep guys fresh. That concerned me going in the game, especially as hot as it was early in the game, was pass rush and guys getting fatigued. It's hard to get your legs back when you've been rushing the passer a lot. So we rolled a bunch of guys early and played a bunch of guys in the game.
Through 4 games, do you feel like your team will be ahead offensively of where they seem to be at this point?
Well, I think we've left 16 points on the board on the field the last 2 weeks, which is disappointing. I felt like the last 2 weeks we've had some self-inflicted issues that we've created for ourselves, and again, we all take the blame together, starting with me and our entire offensive staff and our players. I mean, that's part of it. That's what you do, and I'd like to be further along. I'd like to be 4-0, really, John, to be honest with you. So that's where I'd like to be.
Anything else for Coach? Let him go. Some players in here.
All righty, thank you.